Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening session of our 2021 World Health, Fitness and Wellness Week. We're joined by our good friend Simon Flint, CEO of Evolution Wellness, one of the premier fitness, wellness and lifestyle brand companies in the entire of the Asia Pacific region. Simon operates over a number of countries, a number of brands with hundreds of thousands of members and new products coming out. So it's a great pleasure to have Simon lead off the discussion, and an enjoyable conversation lies ahead. Simon, great to have you here. Many thanks for joining us. Can you give us a quick update on the status quo currently within Evolution Wellness?
Well, hi Ross, good morning, and good morning to everyone attending the Fit Summit. Thank you once again to you and your team for holding the torch for the industry. I think it's really important that we can get together and share like this. So once again, thank you to you. So update perspective from Evolution Wellness. For those who don't know, we operate in 6 countries: Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. And you know, before joining the call this morning, Ross, I was thinking about a conversation that you and I had about this time last year, and we were wondering whether a live August event might be possible. And you know, I'm sure you would agree with me that we wouldn't possibly be thinking, could a live August event the year after still be in jeopardy? And, you know, that the sad thing is that that's kind of where we are at the moment. The volatility of open, close as a result of the pandemic flaring up and being contained again and flaring up again means that from our perspective, we're closed in 4 of 6 markets, which is incredibly difficult. Difficult financially, difficult mentally, and for all of the staff involved. So it's a pretty tough time. We've just done some recent surveys actually in a couple of our markets. We continue to do this to kind of dip back into the public sentiment and find out how people are thinking about it. And one of the things I can share, there's good news and bad news in there really. The good news is that we've got really strong evidence that the demand out there, let me say post-COVID, now whether that means contained COVID or post-pandemic, let's leave that aside, but post-COVID per se, we think there's going to be tremendous demand from returning members, but also, and really importantly, people who are considerers, were considerers before, and those who weren't even considering are now considerers, and will look for an opportunity to get started with something healthy in their lifestyle. If I can just touch on a reference point in the UK, for those who follow the UK market, where vaccines have now really rolled out and into the 70th percentile for the adult population, we've seen a tremendous V-shaped recovery in those markets. A friend of mine who runs a chain that's based in Greater London, a very high-end chain, reports a record April. They opened on the 18th of April, the 12th of April, 18 days of trading in April, and they beat their best ever Januaries, with their KPIs all been blown out from membership joiners, from personal training purchases, from secondary spend on F&B. So if that's a proxy for what happens in a vaccinated world, we can all get very excited. The downside of that, and let me read from my phone, I have a few stats here from a recent survey in Malaysia, where we had 254 respondents who operate 389 facilities between them. More than 60% of respondents said they're very likely to lay off more staff if the restrictions on gyms and other fitness facilities continue. From that number, 1/3 said they're likely to lay off more than 30% of their workforce, which is clearly tragic. From the respondents, 73 gyms or studios have closed in the last 40 months as a direct result of COVID. 41% say their cash reserves will run out in under a month if they continue to be closed. And here's another stat for you. Collectively, we've spent more than $1.1 million US on sanitizing and cleaning services and provision of hygiene needs. And here's the big one. Collectively, over 26 million US dollars in losses incurred as a result of the pandemic. So the tremendous hardship on the business, tremendous hardship on staff, trainers who've lost their variable revenue, and it's going to continue for some time yet. So it's important that we do see governments getting hold of this vaccine rollout and thinking about how they prioritize as an industry. I think you, like me, are probably tired of hearing this concept. You know, where are we in the rank of importance? And it's going to be critical that we carry on really pushing that agenda.
Now, this time last year, Simon, we were talking about the fact that perhaps this is going to come to an end soon. 2021 would be a year when the pent-up demand would come through. It would be a fantastic year for fitness and wellness, 2021. It's not started off too well for many countries. Is 2021 still going to be a defining or redefining year for our industry? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, to a large degree, yes. I mean, there are huge shifts. You know, trauma like this or shocks to an industry causes adaptation and innovation, and the pace of it has been phenomenal. Really, we've seen huge shifts in digital applications. The raft of fitness apps that have been out there, there's been more adoption. Suppliers are now rethinking too how they can work and collaborate more with operators. So a supplier has just supplied equipment previously. Now we're talking about, well, how can we work together? How can we perhaps bundle in your membership offer with a piece of kit that someone might use at home? Because people are saying, I think I might want to work out a bit at home, but I still want the gym because the community's there. So there are opportunities like never before for collaboration, and we're changing the way we relate to our suppliers and suppliers relate to operators. The work from home shift is changing the landscape. You know, the more disruption continues, the more old habits will be broken, new habits will be formed, and as you know, things get hard for those who are not flexing, the opportunities are presenting for those businesses or entrepreneurs who are able to make these shifts. It's not difficult because we don't know what we don't know yet. We're not over this, as we mentioned. We're not in the position of the UK. We're not settled. We're still in the middle of this volatile situation. So there's still a lot of change to come. But what is absolutely clear is the impact on our personal lives, our well-being, our mental health, stress, means that operators who can hold out, or those who are prepared to invest in this industry to fill certain voids that may be left, will absolutely enjoy a very lucrative period on the other side of this, and hopefully a very lasting one, where the shifts in people's value, how they value fitness and wellness, will stay for the long term. So there's good and bad, but one thing's for sure, there will be lasting change.
Now, we're not out of the woods yet, as you've just mentioned. What key challenges, Simon, do you think we're still encountering at this present moment in trying to get through this crisis? And then maybe dovetailing into the fact that one of the solutions we have to get ready for is the fact that we have to align ourselves as an essential industry. So there is that idea we should slightly reposition ourselves. What are the challenges we're facing now, and how can we align those with getting to where we want to be as an essential service?
There are several. One big one that I see and that we encounter is the landlord side. So we have, you know, people with physical gyms and rents to pay are sometimes getting good assistance from landlords in the periods where we close. Other landlords, either through their financial position or their attitudinal position, are not able to provide assistance, and therefore debt can rack up. And once we open again, you know, those debts where they've been incurred will have to be repaid. And one of the big challenges for the subscription businesses are, where people are paying a monthly subscription that is not charged during a lockdown, is that that landlords tend to sometimes think that we're like a retail industry where you can just switch it on and off. You know, a restaurant closes, it opens, people come back, fill the tables, and they eat. Of course, if you have a membership base, and some of that membership base over a period of a year has eroded, the underlying revenue that you switch back on is not what it used to be. And therefore, that chunk of rent that goes out of the door in a percentage term is drastically different and quite perilous if it's not less than it normally would be. So you know, any landlord who might be watching this is an appeal to work with your tenants, be they individuals, be they chains, whatever the brand, and hear them out, understand that they're going to need some longer term assistance to help come back through this. So landlords is a big one, because rent's such a big portion of cost. And the other one, to touch on the point you mentioned about, you know, how we're seen as an industry, one obstacle or danger might be just apathy and short memories. If we do get over this pandemic, or as and when we do, short memories and apathy would be enemy number one. If we allow ourselves to forget what this moment has done to the industry, and we don't continue the lobbying and the representation that you and your great team are spearheading for us in APAC, that would be really dangerous. We can't just get busy and go back to doing what we were doing. We've got to resolve to stay the course and press for a better status as an industry, and to be more respected as an industry. So, you know, forget about COVID for a moment. We can be lobbying governments for better corporate tax benefits, for staff to enjoy the benefits of wellness or fitness and other incentives. There's a ton that we can do. So we need to all resolve as a community to make sure that we stay aligned and we stay together on that, to help elevate our status as a really respected industry that's more needed than ever in these times.
Now, one of the silver linings, Simon, about the COVID pandemic and this crisis has been our adoption to technology. The race to digitization and making sure they have multiple touch points with customers. It seems that technology is everywhere. It has a growing presence and influence. Now, you're also investing in technology touch points and experiences with your members, but as an industry, even as a society, are we perhaps maybe at risk of leaning on technology too much?
I think there's got to be a really careful consideration here for different operators and brands. We think about this a lot, and we definitely spend too much time on our phone because we're all bent over and we can't stand up straight anymore. So that's a given. But there's a temptation to look at tech solutions at every single customer touch point. Some of them are fantastic, increasing efficiency, reducing cost, creating more engagement, providing more data. So any piece of tech that provides a footprint of a member, a preference, a time of day that they come, how long they stay, what it is that they like to do, what it is they don't like to do. That kind of data from tech or connected fitness allows us to do some really cool things in the way we communicate with members. And I think all of us have got an opportunity to build on that. But at the same time, let's think about who's on this call. We've got single studio operators, we've got entrepreneurs. Not everybody needs to apply tech at every single touch point. And one thing that I think about is that, you know, I have a personal trainer. I've had different personal trainers over the years. And as of now, AI is getting really good and really clever, but it doesn't show the empathy that a real well-educated trainer does. It doesn't do too well at asking smart, open-ended coaching questions that connect on a human level. So I don't think we should be thinking about tricking out every touch point with tech at the expense of the key ingredients of self-determination, which an intrinsic motivation, which is really social connectedness. So, you know, one of the key things about retaining our members and engaging is that sense of connection and also motivation. There's nobody that can provide it better than a human who's passionate about their craft. So any personal trainer out there, you know, you're more relevant than ever. You're more needed than ever, but make sure that you use that connection and be human with people. So the opportunity to say, I hear you, I get you, I can help you, that's out there more than it ever was. So tech is really useful in so many ways, and we'll continue to embrace it and add it where it does add value, but we must never lose that human connection.
Technology, of course, is now spawning a new business, a new industry in itself, Simon. Work from home. It's enabling us all to kind of rethink, reconceptualize workspaces, corporate wellness, how we are traveling to and from work. Now, as a business manager, you know, with multiple teams across multiple geographies, there's a lot for you to consider in how you are working with your own employees. What are your thoughts today around the future of workplace design, corporate wellness, work from home? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as a company, we've got a lot to do here because we're completely disrupted. As a support office, for example, we barely see each other anymore. It's Zoom or Teams all day long, and we've lost quite a degree of what we once had. You know, our office is open from time to time, but once that lease is up, I can't imagine us staying in that same environment. But generally speaking, you know, work from home carries a number of benefits. One of them is eliminating the commute means that people have got a little bit more time. So what are they going to do with that time? And I would imagine that a good number of people are going to say, actually, I'm going to look after the number one. I'm going to do something for me. And that might be wellness, that might be fitness, that might be leisure. So there are opportunities that open up by eliminating the commute when people are working from home. It also puts a few more coins in the pocket in the reduction of travel costs as well, which can only be a good thing. In terms of CBDs, it looks like central business districts will contract a little bit and rents will soften, at least for some time, maybe not in the long term. But that's because the influx of people isn't quite what it used to be. So for those who have studios or gyms or a presence in the CBD, we might see that softening a bit and a more traffic happening outside in the residential areas. So what does that mean for those who are still operating there? Well, perhaps we might need to think about some more passive products in the CBD, not just about going for your hard workout, but maybe we can do something in the wellness space, not hardcore exercise, you know, infrared saunas, wellness consultations, meditation spaces and the like. As an example of that, we've recently collaborated with a TCM, traditional Chinese medicine provider in Singapore, in our Gravity Club, and we have a wellness suite there now, just to bring that extra dimension and another reason to visit that venue. So we're going to have to adapt in that sense as well. And when it comes to workplace design and the feeling around it, I think the shared workspace companies got this right some years ago, and it matters even more now. You know, the old school is kind of, you feel stressed when you're at work, you stress out your week, work, and then you go home and try and find a release. Part of that is to do with the way you feel. Regimented, old school offices, you know, we've been guilty of in the past where people are kind of racked and stacked. So concept of biophilic design, we build that into our 5 elements thinking, actually, which is the use of plants and green spaces and free flowing spaces that have such an impact on people that people don't necessarily articulate, but it creates a different feeling, a feeling of more of calm and so on. And lastly, I think, you know, for us, 20 years we've enjoyed physical collaboration and the rapport building and the banter that we have with a tight-knit team, and Zoom just doesn't really cut it. And one interesting thing that we did during the sort of height of the pandemic, when all our markets were closed, with my leadership team, I put a Friday night quiz in place. No agenda, no work. It was just have a beer, have a glass of wine, have a gin at the ready, and then we'll have a bit of competitive spirit online and just have a bit of fun and a bit of banter. Did that with 3 different groups. One group it really clicked with, and people were saying, when's the next one? And that was because there was a team dynamic and a relationship that was already there in the physical world, and people wanted it to carry on in the online space. It's something for people to think about. Non-agenda time, not just always work, and then switch off and do something leisurely. Chew the fat a little bit. Have a drink on a Friday night with your colleagues, and just be human once again, perhaps.
Let's look at growth, Simon, because I think you've been one of the most busiest companies outside of your traditional fitness operations. You've got multiple growth companies now being formed and being pushed out. How is it so important for you to look at these outside perhaps what are your core competencies and growing these brands? We'll dig into each one, but how important is growth for you?
Well, it's very important for us, Ross. You know, Evolution Wellness was founded in 2017 when we brought Fitness First and Celebrity Fitness together. So, you know, 2 well-established brands, and they're what we call our core brands, our like-for-like estate. And, you know, when you're private equity owned, there's a certain drive and a certain pressure to add value, and add value in many different ways. And you do that by increasing your profitability, and you do that by increasing the multiple value that gets applied to your estate. So our growth agenda has been to add what we call our growth brands. So there's one, GoFit, in the high value, low price space, another in the premium boutique space, Fire, another in the premium leisure, travel and wellness area, which is 5 elements. And then we have a software brand, Circuit, that we are taking on the global market as well, which is a membership administration platform that we've used for 20 years. So the benefit of those brands for us is that our experience, our learnings, our mistakes, and what we think will really work is applied in each of those brands, and we can take them beyond the Southeast Asia geography, which has been our home for many years, and start to monetize on the global stage. So we've spent a good deal of time, preparing those brands to be licensable, and that's not as easy as it might sound. There's an awful lot that goes with that, providing online tech support platforms to have the team there to provide all the training and the servicing that's needed. But what we've done is create some really good competitive products. GoFit is a really high-tech, low-cost, but a great product for a customer to get a fantastic high-value workout from. And it speaks to this new market, this emerging market where people are just wanting to get into fitness for the first time. And then at the boutique end, the Fire proposition is fantastic. Now that was born in Malaysia by a couple of entrepreneurs who joined the team through the acquisition, and we've now really codified that brand, and we have effectively 6 studios that you can have under one roof. So what we offer is, rather than a boxing studio, you could have boxing and bar together under one roof, or boxing, bar and cycling, or cycling and strength. So a really great opportunity for entrepreneurs and investors who want to take that up. But most importantly, as I mentioned, the world is now our stage rather than Southeast Asia. So it's a big move for us, a really important one.
Let's take each of those brands one by one, Simon. Let's take GoFit and Fire first of all. What are your ambitions or targets for the next 12 to 24 months for both those brands?
Well, our financial year starts in July, actually. So this week has been or will be a really immersive week in planning and budgeting, which is pretty challenging, as you can imagine, right? We don't know the day that COVID goes away, so that's going to be tough for anyone who has a budget year. But pleasingly, what we can see is that we've got a number of LOIs signed now for across all of the brands that I mentioned. Actually, in the next few weeks, we'll be signing contracts to make a march in some new markets. We've got a lot of interest in Vietnam and Australia, a lot of interest in the Middle East, and we expect to be signing contracts in each of those. So on the GoFit side, the product allows us to have a space of 350 square meters all the way up to 3,000. That's what's really great about it. So it really it's suitable for non-CBD locations, CBD, and anything in between. And the Fire, as I mentioned before, multi-studio under one roof.
Let's look at 5 Elements. Huge success in Bali, and then of course you joined that up with another big venue, another big property in Hong Kong. What are your thoughts on 5 Elements going forward? I mean, there's such a huge demand now coming in as well for travel, wellness-minded business travel. I mean, that's a really exciting space to be. What are your plans and outlook for 5 Elements?
It is an exciting space to be. And a couple of years ago, when we acquired the brand, what we saw was enormous potential, because whilst at the time this brand was a small but unique venue in Ubud in Bali, what we saw was that the message and the mission of the brand attracted some amazing talent and some amazing people that were. It's really quite special. It's hard to explain in so many words, but the brand creates the space for transformation, for life transformation. Now, some people may go there and enjoy a relaxing week. Others may go there and have a profound experience that changes their life, literally changes their life. The amount of testimonials we have that people write very emotionally, that say they're at a junction in their life that they needed to make a big decision, and this helped them find a path. They feel calm, they found inner calm, they found a sense of purpose. It's amazing what that kind of environment can do. So what we wanted to do was to build on the brand architecture and to take 5 Elements into different spaces with modified concepts. So a concept for a very busy CBD location. How do you take the retreat, the sanctuary aspect, and bring it into that location? But on top of that, and perhaps most excitingly, we wanted to create a managed services division which allows the brand to be licensed and to grow globally. Bit of my background is in the hotel scene and spas in years gone by, and it's nice to sort of come back full circle. So with the team, we have launched now our managed services division, and again we've just signed a couple of LOIs where we're going to see new 5 Elements retreats and 5 Elements hotels being taken around the world to take that message and provide amazing opportunities for people to find a life transformation for themselves. So we're really excited about that. And you know, to your point about wellness travel, there's, you know, every week I see a post of some sort on LinkedIn generally, or a magazine article that speaks about people's intentions when they travel. People want to travel somewhere that has got a sort of eco-minded mentality around it, and 5 Elements certainly have. We take a sustainable approach and also what we call a regenerative approach to travel, so people leave the place better than they found it, but also take habits away with them that can foster that sense of I want to do something better for the environment and the community. What we see in these articles and the data that comes out is saying that more and more people want to go somewhere and be better when they come back. So take healthy habits away, not just perhaps lie on a beach and read a book like they used to. Whilst that's still important and attractive, people also want to do something a little bit more engaging and a little bit more beneficial, learn something that they can take back home with them. So I think 5 Elements is perfectly positioned on that sort of that wellness trend, that wellness curve. And there's this other concept, by the way, that you know, we're putting some programs in place that allow people to work from home, away from home. As crazy as that sounds, if you can work from home for a week, you can. You don't have to be at home. You could be at another location. So the concept of going away to somewhere really in a wellness environment and immersing yourself in that space, waking up in the morning, doing a yoga class, having an amazingly healthy breakfast, doing your morning's work, doing perhaps another activity in the afternoon, having a swim, catch a bit of sun, do your afternoon's work, and then in the evening have a spa treatment or something of that sort. What a great opportunity! What a fantastic environment to sort of blend work and wellness together. So we see that has been something of relevance too. So ton of innovation in that space, really exciting, and the timing for 5 Elements is truly now.
Well, we look forward to hearing more about the LOIs, Simon, and I'm sure everyone watching this, if they click onto the EW website, there'll be more news there posted in the upcoming weeks and months. You've got 2 other offerings at the moment, Simon, Circuit and then, of course, Truvian. Let's touch on Circuit first. I know it has been a long time in the pipeline, given this, you've got so much expertise in that data management. But what's up with that brand in the next couple of years? I know it's new to market, but what are your objectives?
Yeah, so the story with Circuit is it was a product that used to be called Members First. It was part of the Global Fitness First suite of products. So it was a code for our operations. Our membership platform had been written over best part of 2 decades. We saw an opportunity because it did things that other software products don't. Certainly a lot of them don't. Things like deferred revenue modules, which CFOs and FDs get really excited about because it makes their life so much easier. We felt it would be really useful to, first of all, we took it from its server-based origins, now cloud-based, and we have a software as a service product that allows people to take the back end, which is Circuit, and the member app, which is at the front end, and integrate the two. So it's particularly good for businesses of a medium to large size. So like us, it's very robust. It works across multiple geographies, multiple payment platforms, and it's really robust at the very, very high data traffic levels. So that's the positioning for it. We have a number of customers that we are putting into place the discovery stage for. So again, we'll be public with new clients, new client announcements there. So again, that's an important growth brand for us.
And then last but not least, the Truvian. I mean, at-home connected fitness, as you'll see from our colleagues and counterparts across North America especially, is booming. There seems to be no end of appetite for capital to come into that marketplace, for consumer demand is rising. There's also some incredibly exciting startups. We don't have that many exciting startups here in Asia Pacific, Simon, but Truvian are one of those. What's been happening for the last couple of months and what's on the horizon for the next 12 months ahead?
I think Truvian is an absolute winner in the space, and we're delighted to play a small part in that and to be involved. I think you've got Ben McTiernan on the summit at some point in the next couple of days. So Ben will speak with his expertise. Ben's the head of growth at Truvian, so I'm sure that'll be a great interview. So I won't steal too much of his thunder, but let me exude a little bit of my passion for the product. I've been fortunate enough to have a prototype here months and months ago, which was what really opened my eyes to how amazing the platform is. And I don't use that word lightly. What the Vitruvian platform does, it's slightly bigger than an aerobic step, if you like. Inside that are two torque motors that provide resistance and load through cables. There are a number of attachments and appendages to it that allow for a really complete workout set. But you plug that thing into the wall, there's no drilling of any walls, there's no massive space required. You can tuck it under a coffee table or a bed when you're done with it. But when you're on that thing, it is no exaggeration to say it's twice the workout in half the time. That means a quarter. So you're getting an enormous benefit. Why? Because the intelligent algorithm that works with the product means that as let's say I'm doing a bicep curl, I provide a certain load on the cable. It will sense when I'm at my peak load. It will sense if I'm backing off and drop the resistance. So what does that mean? Take a compound movement. Imagine you're in a squat going into a shoulder press. Your legs are generally more powerful than your shoulders. So you can max out in that range of motion and continue to max out all the way through your range of motion and get the most complete workout in a short space of time. And I'm not doing it justice like Ben will, but on top of that, there's a fantastic app, super engaging, a raft of data so you can understand how you're progressing through your workouts. Very motivating leaderboards, which, when you see people on the leaderboard who are just a little bit ahead, it motivates you to do that extra set and just work your way up. So a phenomenal product. And the beauty of the Truvian, as far as I'm concerned, is that it's not here to sort of disrupt and take over the world. It's here to work alongside commercial gym spaces. So its application in the commercial space is for individual use, for high quality personal training, where a trainer can take their phone, they can push a program to a client who could do it in the gym or at home. So a really good opportunity there for personal training applications. Then classes, so studio class formats where a lead instructor can be at the front and a bunch of people on their own platform. So that's the commercial space. And then of course at home, people can put it in a bedroom, in a living room, you name it. But the beauty of it is your data's on your phone, so you can use your machine at home. You can travel to a gym location. You just click the QR code and you're off and running with your own programs and data sets wherever you are. So I think it's going to be a real winner in the space. And we see a ramp up of production into July with the penetration to the North American market. So I'm really looking forward to the journey with the Truvian, and we're delighted to play a small part.
Well, myself and my team, Simon, we had one of the first demos in Singapore, and it's a fantastic workout. I mean, there's no doubts about it. It's a really fantastic bit of kit, and I'm pretty sure we'll not just see it at home, but also in the commercial space and even in hospitality, spa, resorts.
That's right.
That will be upcoming demand. 2020, Simon, I think we paraphrased it last year. 2 words always rang true: resilience and survival. What 2 words or 3 words do you think ring true for 2021?
At the risk of being slightly unimaginative, I think the watchwords for this year will be, again, resilience, survival, and perhaps I would add determination to that. We have to dig incredibly deep in this part of the world, particularly where we are closed again. And it's not over yet. We're still closed, and there's disruption in a lot of markets with the pandemic. So resilience is absolutely the key watchword. And all of our industry colleagues and friends out there, I wish everyone the very best in seeing this through. I think the message is we can only focus on what we can control. There's certain things that we can't do, but we've got to really hone in on what we can control and do our level best. It's important that we take care of each other at this time. We look after our staff. We ask how we're doing. It's quite a burden and a lot of pressure on people when it comes to flying the flag during these difficult times. But it's got to be determination that is the big one. If we all stay determined and push to represent our industry as best we can. Never give up on that. I'm very hopeful that we can come out into a really new, positive environment, perhaps like never before, where we see people truly applying a value to wellness and fitness, which is great for the industry and great for everyone who works in it.
I think that's a great closing sentiment, Simon. Let's all work hard, determined to make sure the transformation, evolution does stick, and that we continue to be an incredible force for good across society, communities, and of course business. Simon, thank you very much for your continued leadership throughout this entire process. Thank you very much to the Evolution Wellness team. Look forward to seeing all the good news updates in the months to come, and look forward to seeing you soon face to face.
Thank you very much, Ross, and have a great couple of days.
Fire!